Hello and welcome. Today, we are exploring a topic that influences every financial decision we make, often without us even realizing it: the power of inflation. Have you ever looked at a price from 100 years ago and wondered, what would that be worth today? Or perhaps you've seen a vintage advertisement for a car and thought about how its cost compares to modern vehicles. This concept isn't just a historical curiosity, it is a fundamental pillar of economic understanding. Inflation is the decrease in the purchasing power of money, which means that over time, each unit of currency buys fewer goods and services. It is a slow, relentless force that redefines value across generations. To help us understand this profound shift in economic reality, we have created a unique tool called the Historical Inflation Calculator. This powerful and engaging tool allows you to take any modern price and instantly see its equivalent value in different historical eras. It's a bridge between the past and the present, translating economic concepts into tangible, relatable figures. We will be walking through a demonstration using a fixed modern price of $45, converting this value across 6 distinct periods in American and world history, and even venturing back to the days of ancient Rome. This calculator uses official data from sources like the Consumer Price Index, or CPI, to provide accurate comparisons, giving us a true sense of how far a dollar would go in different times. The results may surprise you and will provide a new perspective on history, economics, and your own financial world. Let us begin our journey. We start with a modern price of $45. This could be the cost of a new video game, a meal for two at a nice restaurant, or a premium subscription service. We will now use the calculator to convert this $45 value into its equivalent in the year 1925, a period known as the Roaring Twenties. This was an era of unprecedented economic prosperity and cultural dynamism. When we input $45 and select the year 1925, the calculator shows us a historical value of $2.45. This means that a purchase that cost just $2.45 back in 1925 would require $45 to be made today. This difference is stark and immediately illustrates the vast change in purchasing power over a century. The relative affordability of goods and services was dramatically different, reflecting a post-World War I, pre-Depression global economy that was rapidly modernizing. The value of money was strong, and consumer goods, while not widely available by today's standards, were relatively inexpensive for those who could afford them. Next, we will jump ahead to the year 1935, a time of profound economic struggle during the Great Depression. The global economy had been ravaged by the stock market crash and subsequent downturn, and a period of deflation was in full swing, meaning prices were falling. Using our $45 figure, the calculator reveals a 1935 equivalent of $1.91. The value of money had actually increased since the 1920s. This result shows how economic conditions can sometimes cause prices to drop, a rare but impactful phenomenon. Our calculator can show both inflation and deflation, providing a comprehensive view of economic history. The financial hardship of the era is reflected in this number. Money was scarce, but the value of each dollar was elevated, meaning those who had money saw its purchasing power increase. This was due to a collapse in demand that forced businesses to lower prices in a desperate attempt to sell goods. Now we move to the year 1955, a period of post-war optimism and burgeoning suburban life known as the Fabulous 50s. The economy was booming, consumerism was on the rise, and a new middle class was emerging. The conversion of $45 reveals a 1955 equivalent of $3.74. This shows a steady increase in prices from the Depression era as the nation entered a new period of stability and growth. The American dream was being built, and while wages were rising, the cost of living was also on an upward trajectory, a pattern that would continue for decades to come. This was a period of sustained, moderate inflation driven by a combination of strong consumer demand and government spending on infrastructure and defense. Our next stop is the year 1965, a vibrant period of social and cultural change often referred to as the swinging 60s. The economy continued its expansion, and inflation began to pick up pace. When we calculate the equivalent value for our $45, we see a 1965 price of $4.40. The gap between historical and modern prices is widening, showing a more accelerated rate of inflation compared to earlier decades. The cost of everything from housing to food was climbing steadily, a trend that would become a major concern in the following decade. The early signs of what would become a period of high inflation were beginning to show, driven by a combination of the Vietnam War and Great Society social programs. Jumping to the year 1985, we encounter a period of rapid technological advancement and significant economic shifts. The hyperinflation of the 1970s was being brought under control, but prices were still much higher than in the previous decades. The calculator shows us a 1985 value of $15.01. This massive jump in value within just 20 years highlights the intense inflation that occurred in the intervening time. It is a powerful illustration of the difference between a period of moderate controlled growth and a period of economic upheaval. New economic policies and a global recession helped to cool down the economy, but the effects of the past decades were still clearly visible in the price of goods. Finally, we arrive at the year 2005. This period represents a more recent and relatable benchmark for many. It was a time defined by the rise of the internet, the widespread adoption of mobile technology, and the globalization of markets. When we convert our $45 modern price, we find that in 2005 it would have been worth $27.28. This shows us that the erosion of purchasing power is not just a distant historical event, but an ongoing process that continues to affect our financial reality today. Even in a relatively short 20-year span, the value of money has shifted dramatically. Beyond these specific decades, our calculator can even take us back to the time of ancient Rome, approximately 100 AD. In this period, a formal CPI did not exist, so our calculation is based on historical approximations of the value of a staple commodity, a loaf of bread. The average daily wage for a laborer was 1 denarius, and a loaf of bread cost 1/8 of a denarius. Based on this historical data, our $45 price tag would have been equivalent to just $0.23 in ancient Rome. This is a truly staggering difference and provides a fascinating glimpse into the purchasing power of money in a completely different civilization. Now, you may be wondering, how does this calculator perform these complex calculations? The secret lies in a concept known as the Consumer Price Index, or CPI. The CPI is a crucial economic indicator that measures the average change over time in the prices paid by urban consumers for a market basket of consumer goods and services. This basket includes common items like food, housing, transportation, and medical care. The U.S. Bureau of Labor Statistics compiles this data meticulously, giving economists and analysts a tool to track inflation accurately over decades. Our calculator uses the ratio of the CPI from a modern year to the CPI of a historical year to determine the equivalent value. The formula is straightforward but incredibly powerful. Historical value equals modern price multiplied by the quantity of the historical CPI divided by the modern CPI. For ancient periods, where official CPI data is unavailable, we use a different methodology. We rely on extensive historical research into the prices of staple goods and the average wages of the time to create compelling, though approximate, conversion. This allows us to provide a broader historical context that CPI alone cannot capture. Understanding inflation is not merely an academic exercise. It is a vital component of informed financial decision-making. Whether you are saving for retirement, investing in stocks, or simply managing your daily budget, the impact of inflation cannot be ignored. A savings account that doesn't keep pace with inflation is, in effect, losing value. A long-term investment must generate a return that exceeds the inflation rate to create real wealth. By understanding the historical erosion of purchasing power, you can make smarter choices about how you earn, save, and invest your money. This calculator is more than a simple tool. It is a gateway to a deeper understanding of economic history and a key to improving your financial literacy. We encourage everyone to use it as a starting point for their own financial education. The Historical Inflation Calculator, along with many other powerful financial and productivity tools, is available for free. We invite you to explore this and many other calculators by visiting our website. See for yourself how a dollar's value has changed over time. Put in your own numbers and see what they would have been worth in your favorite historical era. You can use our other tools to help with everything from calculating your net worth to managing your personal budget. We believe that by providing clear and easy-to-use calculators, we can help people make better financial decisions. We are committed to providing you with the resources you need to succeed. You can find the Historical Inflation Calculator and many more useful tools at calqua.com. Thank you for joining us today, and we hope to see you on our website soon.